Administrative the Reforms Commission. There were two administrative reforms commissions established in the past to provide recommendations for reviewing and reforming the administrative system of the country. The first Administrative Reforms Commission was formed in 1966, initially under the leadership of Moraji Desai and later on by K. Hanumantaya. It submitted 20 reports, including one in which extensive suggestions were provided in the domain of center-state relations. The second Administrative Reforms Commission was constituted in the new millennium in 2005 under the chairmanship of initially Veerappa Moily and later on by V. Ramachandran. The Tamil Nadu government established the Rajamannar Committee to analyze and provide recommendations for restructuring the center-state relations in our constitution. The committee consisted of the retired Chief Justice of Madras High Court, P.V. Rajamannar, former Vice Chancellor of the University of Madras, Dr. Lakshmana Swamy, and the former Chief Justice of Andhra, Dr. P. Chandra Reddy. It submitted its report to the government in 1971, marking a great milestone in the history of autonomy debate in the country. The major suggestions of the committee include the Article 263 of the Constitution should be implemented, and interstate council should be formed to promote the cooperation between the central and state governments. The proposed council must consist of the Chief Minister of States or the nominees and the Prime Minister as the chairperson. All major bills of the Parliament and decision of the Union government that affect the interests of one or more states are placed and discussed in the council. Its opinion should be considered in the decision-making process. The interstate council is mandatory in all matters bearing related to the two subjects, namely defense and foreign affairs. The committee recommended the elimination of Articles 256, 257, 339 from our Constitution. The committee was against specifically these articles as they enable the centers to issue instructions to the state governments. It favored the shifting of the residuary powers of legislation and taxation from the union government to the state governments to empower the states. The Article 356 in Part 18 of the Constitution should be diligently used by the union government only as a measure of the last resort in the event of a complete breakdown of the constitutional machinery in the state, and not as a mere law and order breakdown situation. The committee wanted to introduce far-reaching changes in the All India services. It suggested the abolition of All India services, including the elite Indian Administrative Service, as they are against the spirit of federalism and state autonomy. It highlighted the concerns of the state governments ruled by opposition parties of the ruling party at the center about the All India services acting as agents of the union government. In the domain of financial services of the committee recommended further evolution of powers and resources to the states for the purpose of expanding the financial capacity of the states. It suggested changes in certain taxes like corporation tax, customs and export taxes. The committee recognized the finance as the fulcrum of the state rights and balanced federalism, and therefore recommended the transfer of many items from union list and current list to state list in the 7th schedule of the constitution. It argued for making the Finance Commission a permanent impartial body devoted to the priorities of national unity, development and state rights and identities. The Union government constituted a commission under the chairmanship of Justice R. S. Sarkaria in 1983 to review the center-state relations. B. Sivaram and R.S.N. were the other members of the commission. 5 years later, it submitted a comprehensive report containing 247 recommendations. It recommended that the interstate council must have the functions laid down in the articles 263b and c, that is to investigate the subjects where many states have common interest and to make a recommendation for better coordination of policy in the subject. The commission argued against Article 263a, stating that the Interstate Commission should not have powers to inquire and advise on the interstate disputes. The Commission also suggested the establishment of an independent permanent secretariat for the Interstate Council to make the body more effective. Article 356 must be enforced only meagerly as a measure of last resort when there is complete breakdown of constitutional machinery in a state. All available and possible alternatives should be explored before the imposition of the Article 356 emergency in the state concerned. However, the Commission rejected the demand and suggestion of some political parties that the office of governor must be abolished before the appointment of state governors. On the contrary, for smooth functioning of federalism, it suggested that the politically active persons and leaders should not be appointed as governors. Only eminent persons must be appointed as governors. Language. It recommended the strict adherence to the tri language format to strengthen the unity and the integrity of the committee. Commission in the Union government constituted a commission in 2007 under the leadership of Justice Madan Mohan Panchi, the former Chief Justice of the Supreme Court in 2007. The commission also had three more members and the secretary and presented its report in 2010. It recommended that the governors of the states must have fixed tenure and they should be removed only through impeachment process akin to the President of India. If wanted to introduce changes in Articles 355 and 356 so that the insurgency plan or problem affected areas or districts in the state rather than the entire state can be brought under emergency as a strategy to localize emergency and efficiently handle insurgency or troubles. The Commission also suggested that the Union government must have power and authority for the suo motu deployment of central forces without the consent of the concerned states in areas affected by communal violence.